Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you around the world and across the country in your different time zones. And here we are once again. It's Thursday. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast. It's 5 p.m. on the West Coast. There's a Friday morning in London and Tokyo, Japan, 1 a.m. in London, and it's 9 a.m. in Tokyo, Japan, and they're closer to the weekend than we are, but we're going to get there. Hi, everybody. My name is Frank Allan. Welcome aboard to another edition of Talk Back Live. We're here every Thursday, as you already know. And for those of you who are here on a regular basis, you already know the protocol. But for the people who are just joining us for the first time, let me tell you a little bit about the show. We come on every week at this time. Depending on where you are, check it out. Look at your clock. This is what time we come on each week. And we get you involved in the show. We'd like you to do that. All you have to do is just type in, because we're live and I could hear you. I could see you right there up on the big screen when you come in, and you can talk to us. We can talk to you. What we do is try to get you involved in conversation. Now, what we do is that being the host of the show, I am going to start off everything conversation wise, and you can join in, or if you want to change the subject, we can do that too. Because I will entertain all of your thoughts and your ideas. It's free exchange. And you could talk to other people while you're in the room as well. So we invite you to do all of that. So don't make this your last time. Make it a weekly habit. And you hang around right now and you see what we mean. We have a lot of fun. We do this each week. Thank you so much for being along with us. And just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, what we're going to do is, in conjunction with interacting with you and other people who come in, we're going to do all of our regular things. All right, we have a regularity in this show as well. And what I mean by that is that later on in the program, just minutes from now, coming along this particular half hour of the show, Brian Camp is going to be aboard with us, and he's going to deliver you to sports. And that's called Sports Update. That's the name of his show, Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And he has a lot to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about the Yankees, who are struggling a little bit right now. I'm a little bit frustrated, but you know what? You know, once a Yankee, always a Yankee. And that's the way I look at it. So I continue to root for them, but keep my fingers crossed, because I'm still looking to the future and still hoping that the Yankees and the Mets will play baseball in October. And we will play in the World Series, both stadiums at Citi Field and Yankee Stadium, and generate a lot of money for the city. That should be an exciting thing to see. Generating all of that money for New York City, and it's all because of the World Series. I'm looking forward to that. Let's keep my fingers crossed. I have faith in you, Yankees. And then he'll be talking about a lot of things that materialize over the week. He'll talk more about that. That's coming up too. Also later in the program, we're going to give you this day in history. We do that each week. We cite all of those things that happened on this day in history. That's coming up too, not too far away in the show. And also even later than that, we're going to give you our picks of the week of all of those classic movies that you enjoy so much, directly from Turner Classic Movies. My picks of the week for this weekend, for those of you who are interested in catching up on movies that you haven't seen in a long time. Well, I'm just going to add a few to your list of movies to catch up with. And all of that's coming up. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being along with us. We're still into the summer months and things to do. People doing outdoor barbecues still, you know, they're still working on that. And they're still interacting with friends, going to the fairs, and all of those things that come along with summer. And as you already know, we're into our new month of August. This is August 11th now. And time really goes by quick. And this part of the summer is known as the dog days of summer. So it's coming up, you know, things are wrapping up. Before you know it, September will be along, and by golly, kids will be back in school. Now, depending on where you are, kids, depending on where you are, some of the kids start school somewhere in the middle of this month, depending on where you are. This particular month, in the middle of this month, and some people in certain parts of the country, different cities, they start maybe the top half of September, which is usually after Labor Day. After Labor Day is over, that weekend is over, then they go back to school, so it depends. And are you looking forward to going back to school? I know you had a great summer and, you just want to lay off. Continue the summer first. It's not coming up just yet, but continue your summer first, but you're going to go back. And then you're going to get to the point where you have to shop for school supplies. I remember as a kid shopping for school supplies, right? And back in my day of school, we didn't have to do much shopping for school supplies. All we had to do was pick up notebooks, those composition books, loose leaf books and binders, pencils, pens, erasers, rulers, and all of those simple things that we needed. Book bags, we used to carry book bags, right? We used to carry those. That's what they called them back then, book bags. And then we carried those and put our books in there. Today, they're not using book bags. They're using knapsacks now, backpacks. That's what they're doing. Kids are walking around with backpacks. They're not holding the briefcases anymore. So it's kind of different. And this day and age, if you're looking for supplies, the kids today looking for supplies is more sophisticated than we have. Not only they're looking for pens, but they're looking for calculators. Not even calculators anymore. Maybe you're looking for a new laptop, because in the classes they're using laptops now. And if you don't have one of your own, all those school supply laptops anyway, so the thing that you basically have to worry about is buying the other supplies like books, notes, notepads, and things like that. And you don't have to worry about buying papers to put in a typewriter, because I remember coming up as a kid, we took up typewriting, right? We sat in the class of typewriting and we had to learn how to type. And a lot of you kids are asking me right now, what is a typewriter? Okay, let me explain that one to you. A typewriter, and those of you who are old enough to remember, it's okay, they're laughing at us, but this is how it was. Typewriter is almost like what you use on a computer, almost like a computer, same keyboard, the same arrangement, keyboard. The only difference with a typewriter is when you hit or stroke a key, right? These little hammers, which in the typewriters pop up, and it hits what they call this little ribbon inside, which when it hits that ribbon and you have the paper inside, ingest the paper in there. And when you hit the key, that little hammer will display that letter, because each key has a hammer and the hammer has a letter on, and then it'll hit that paper and actually it'll hit the tape, and it will display the number and the letter on the paper. And if you make a mistake, then you go back and you have to use what they call whiteout. They still use whiteout today in some cases for whatever reason, right? You use whiteout, right? And then you go back, you backspace it, and then you hit the proper letter or number that you were looking for initially. And then you have to do it all over again. They don't do that today. Computers, you don't have to do any whiteouting or anything today. All you have to do, if you make a typo or anything, all you have to do is just backspace it, kick out that letter or that number, and then use the one that you're looking for. Everything is a little more sophisticated back then, but that's how we did that. So, you don't have to do much of getting supplies and things like that, because as I said, in the schools, they supply you with laptops and things like that. But a lot of kids, they like to have their own, to take it to school with them. And then they have the cell phones and all. Oh, we didn't have any of that stuff. We didn't have any of that stuff. Times change, sometimes for the better. You got to wonder whether or not it's for the better or for the worse. It's a little mix of everything, but technology has a way of saying, you know what, it's good, but it's not good. And it depends on how you look at it. Anyway, folks, thank you so much again for joining us. And if you're just joining us this very, very moment, those of you guys, thank you for joining in. The name of the show is called Talk Back Live. And my name is Frank Allan. And I am your host for this show, as I am each week. So thank you so much for being along with us, and stay with us. There's a lot to happening. So much happened in the news. So many things happen. I just want to get started and tell you that we had, I hate to report bad news, but this is important. and a lot of prominent people passed. You know how they say death comes in threes. Well, in this case, it's absolutely true. First of all, Australian pop folk singer Judith Durham. That's the lead singer of a lot of you who are my age and maybe a little older and maybe a little younger. Remember a group called the Seekers, 1960 group. And they made big hits such as Georgie Girl, Hey There, Georgie Girl. Yeah, Georgie Girl, and I'll Never Find Another You. Well, the lead singer, they only had one girl in the group, and her name was Judith Durham. She passed away this week, and she passed away at the age of 79 years old. And so, we just want to send our greetings out there. And like I said, those hit records that they made, Georgie Girl, Never Found Another You, and they were both done in the same year, in 1967, those two songs back in 1967. And so she passed away. Wonderful voice she had. She had a great voice, And if you look on my Facebook page, when you get a chance, you'll see I posted something on there in reference to her death. And then I posted a video that she did. I remember years ago when they did recording. She's from Australia. I think she's originally, she's from Australia. But she spent a lot of time in London. As a matter of fact, she and the Seekers recorded in the same studio complex as the Beatles. All right, now there were two studios. Now the Beatles, they had an upstairs and a downstairs, and the name of the recording studio, and an upstairs and a downstairs. And the upstairs studios is where the Beatles used to record, but the Seekers, whenever they recorded in the downstairs studio. And back in those days, they were like in buildings. They were just like in buildings, And just like when Motown opened up back in the late 50s, 1959 or so, and they were called Hitsville, USA. They recorded all of their songs out of that building. You see that building, that Hitsville building in Detroit. It's a museum now, So that's how they recorded back then. Those small studios, those small labels, they had them. And except for maybe, let's say, Capitol Records, well, that was a big conglomerate anyway. So they had that real high riser in Hollywood, California, but those small studios. But anyway, she passed away this week. So we want to send our condolences out to all of the people who work with her teammates or her group mates who sang with her on those fabulous songs they did back in the 60s. Also, all of the fans who loved and adored her, everybody knew who she was. Also, recording artist and actress and activist, Olivia Newton-John, and this is a bummer right here. She passed away, died peacefully on Monday. She died Monday. Now, Judith Durham died Sunday, and she died, Olivia Newton-John died the day after, and she died at her ranch in California, in Southern California. And she was surrounded by her husband and other family members, and she was 73 years old. And but she was an activist, especially when it came to breast cancer for women. She went out in the crusade for that, and she fought to the end. She was battling with that for 30 years. But I'm not saying that was the cause, because they never released a cause on what the actual death entailed. But she did pass away. And finally, Lamont Dozier of the celebrated Holland Dozier Holland. That was a team of 3 people, 2 other brothers, Holland and Dozier, Lamont Dozier. And they wrote songs like You Can't Hurry Love for the Supremes, Heat Wave, Your Love Is Like a Heat Wave for Martha and the Vandellas, and an abundance of a lot of other songs they did for Motown, big hits that helped them along. And that was a nice, like I said, that was a recording studio recorded in Detroit, Michigan at the time, and later on moved to Los Angeles, California. Anyway, he passed away at the age of 81 years old. And so we want to say congratulations, we want to say condolences out to all of these people who have been around with us and provided us with all of their great talents and all of their great music. and everything they've done right throughout the years to help out. We want to say I'll send our condolences out to the fans and friendly people. Now, back then, Motown, they brought out some big hits back in those days. Brought out some real big hits back in those days. And the Motown sound came out through Holland Dozier Holland. They wrote those songs. And of course, Smokey Robinson, you know, he wrote songs. He had a hand on writing songs. And then we had great choreographers who helped out with the performance of the artists, you know, to make them look good on stage. And of course, back in those days, they also had, you know, I guess they call them charm classes. You know, they have these classes with all of the artists back then had to go. And they wanted to hold these classes for these artists because they wanted to make sure that they performed and looked good on stage. So that's what they did. And not many companies did that back in those days. But Motown, they had they were like kind of hands-on with their thing and doing their thing. Anyway, so those are that's what happened this week, and we're sorry to hear all about that. And again, our condolences go out to all of the people who were involved with them. And so that's how it goes. Okay, I promised you sports, right? And Brian Camp is here right now, and he's here. He's got the latest developments in today's world of sport, and he has a lot to talk about. Brian, you have so much to talk about. For you, I didn't mention it, what you were going to say, but I know where you're going. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I guess I'm doing good. Yeah, I guess you could say. You know, it's been a very busy day. It's been very crazy, but it's been a heck of a day. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
But hello, good evening to you.
If you want to talk about it, I have ears.
It's not. You know, I don't want to get in trouble with the FCC or anybody like that. I'm in trouble with Facebook and anything. But you know, let me just relax. As first of all, good evening to you all coming from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Yeah, I'm here for a wedding for this weekend, and got my sports here, and it's nice here. I'm by the beach. I got a oceanfront view, so we're gonna celebrate a wedding this weekend on Sunday night, and here. So I'll be here tonight as I am right now, and I'll be here again for tomorrow as well too. So, but hope all well. Just want to get right to it. In the NBA, the NBA informed teams that players still need to have to receive a primary course of a COVID-19 vaccine, or be given a medical clearance from getting one, in order to play games in the country of Canada. As you know, Canada has probably one of the lowest death toll that they have for this virus. So they've done very well. They've done extremely well, and they continue to follow procedures. The memo was also states that should players be ineligible to play in games in Canada, teams must list them as out health and safety protocol. That means they cannot play. They will lose their pay for any games missed due to not being vaccinated. The same rules apply for both to go into Canada to play in the game, as well as for entering into the United States. Anyone playing for the Raptors, which is their NBA basketball team, therefore would have to be vaccinated in order to play in any games this season. Now, last season, the Raptors were fully vaccinated. They were fully vaccinated, every team member, every coach, every assistant coach, everybody. The subject of vaccinations in Toronto has been a season-long issue, even in the Major League Baseball league also as well, where unvaccinated players have been unable to play against the Blue Jays for the entire same reason. So that's where we stand. Got this word out in the NBA. We're still talking about the NBA. this afternoon, the NBA decided to retire Bill Russell's number 6, not only for the Boston Celtics, but league-wide. Now, not too long ago, some 15 years ago, maybe even less, not quite sure, Jackie Robinson had his number retired from Major League Baseball, not because he was the best player, because by far he was not the best player coming out the old Negro League. Bill Russell was not the best player coming out of the NBA, but it's what they did off the court and off the field. Both Jackie Robinson and Bill Russell fought for equal rights, civil rights. They were both activists. They just wanted equal opportunity for all people of all races and all color and all sex agendas. So this is why their number was being retired and would never be worn again. Now, there are players in the NBA who have the number 6, but once they get traded or retired, every team will not be able to release that number 6 at all. So that's why some of the people will wear number 6 because they already had it. Mario Rivera was the last person to have the number 42 for baseball, because when they decided to retire Jackie Robinson number, Mario Rivera was still wearing number 42 for the Yankees. So they said once he retires, then no longer will anybody else wear a 42. And that's where we stand now, baseball. The number 42 is in every Major League Baseball stadium, and every NBA arena will have the same thing for Bill Russell. So that's where we stand. This day in sports, August 11th, Cleveland Indians future Hall of Famer Tris Speaker hits his 700 double in a 7-2 loss to the Chicago White Sox. New York Yankee slugger, 1929, Babe Ruth becomes the first player in Major League Baseball to hit 500 career home runs versus the Cleveland Indians. And 1951, first televised baseball game in color on CBS in New York City. Yes, New York City, CBS radio. I don't know if it was on the FM side or the AM side, but they were, it was the first color television game. Watch the game in color. It wasn't one of those things where that it was where you have like a color sheet and you put over a black and white TV. Remember those days? Yes, that's what they did. 1961, the Milwaukee Braves Hall of Fame baseball pitcher Warren Spahn records his career victory number 300. 1962, the LA Dodgers protest as San Francisco manager Alvin Dark ordered the grounds crew to water down the infield to slow down base pass for Maury Wills in San Francisco. Boy, those two teams are too dirty. They don't like one another. They'll do anything just to win and just to get an edge over somebody else. Imagine that. 1968, Satchel Paige, 62 years old, needed 158 days on Major League Baseball payroll to qualify for a pension. Instead, he signs to be a coach. I guess that didn't work out too well for him, but he remained in baseball, though. 1969, Hall of Famer Don Drysdale, the last LA Dodger to play in Brooklyn, retires because his damaged right pitching shoulder was severely injured. 1970, Major League Baseball, Jim Bunning becomes the second Cy Young Award winner to win 100 games in both leagues. That's the National League and the American League. 1971, Harmon Killebrew hits home runs number 500 and 501. 1980, New York Yankees Reggie Jackson hits his 400th career home run off of Chicago pitcher Britt Burns. 1984, Cincinnati Reds retired catcher Johnny Bench, number 5 uniform. Johnny Bench. 1992, Oakland A's ripped Jose Canseco for leaving the stadium before the game ended. I guess he left. He didn't want to stay until the game was finally finished, so he decided, I'm getting out of here. And he was criticized by his own teammates and the organization that he played for. In 1933, Boston Red Sox, Roger Clemens pitches his 2,000 strikeouts in 1993. Birthdays today. 1953, Terry Bollea, known as Hulk Hogan, worldwide federal heavyweight champion, was born in, champion for 1984 to 1989, was born in Augusta, Georgia. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports on a busy, busy week for me in the sports world, everywhere.
You mentioned Jim Bunning. That reminds me back in, I believe it was 1964. I never forget it, on Father's Day, 1964.
Perfect game, yes.
I never forgotten that. And I was like maybe about 13, 14 years old at the time. Never forgot that. That was one of the highlights of baseball back in those days. He's a politician now, or maybe he's retired in politics. I don't know, but he turned to politics, you know. And then you mentioned something about that color sheet. That was as close to color TV as you're going to get, because back in those days, color TV was basically for people who were well-to-do, who had money, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, so the closest you can get the color TV. I used to go to people's houses, friends' houses. They say, "Oh, I got a color TV." I said, "Wow." I used to go there and they got this color sheet on a black and white face.
Yeah. And of course the antenna was the rabbit ears where they turn the antennas to get it clear. Oh yeah.
You know, one of the things I was hoping that you would mention, and you didn't, elaborate on the retirement of Serena Williams.
Okay, yes. The reason why I did not do it, she was hinting that it is going to be her last swan song. She is going to play in the U.S. Open in Flushing Meadow. Yeah. So it's not official. She is approaching 40. So yes, this might be, or she might be 40 now, and she might be calling it the end of a career, of a historical career that she has put together for women's tennis. You know, she's one of the great ones. Many believe that she is the greatest of all time. I believe she is, but some think that she played in an era where she didn't have a lot of competition, and opposed to the 80s where Martina Navratilova, Chris Everett, and Steffi Graf, and all those great tennis players was going against one another hard in the 80s. Yeah. But that's the debate. So that's a debate for another time. But yeah, this might be it, you know. And I don't think too far behind would be her older sister Venus. Is not too far behind.
Yeah. You know, the sport of tennis was always a popular sport. It was always popular. But when Serena and her sister came along, they kind of changed, especially Serena, kind of changed the face of tennis. And it became even more popular because people were just watching. Everybody just loved watching to see, you know, watching her play. Whether she lost the game or not, you know, they went out to see her. And it was always great. And you know something, I don't think this is going to be the last of her. Whenever she retires, whenever she decides to do that, we're not going to hear the last from her, because you know what's going to happen? She's going to wind up doing what Shaq is doing now. He has so many endorsements. That's what she's going to be, because she has endorsements now.
Yes.
But they're gonna call her. Her phone is going to be blown up.
Well, I say two things about this. What her and her sister Venus brought to tennis was, it brought a lot of African-American women into the sport to play tennis.
Yeah.
Sure. But it also brought Americans back on the map in tennis, because for many years, Europeans was dominating women tennis. But for Venus and Serena to come in and take it to another level, it just made it so much easier for them to bring not only Black, you know, African Americans, but also Americans back on the map, where for so long Americans were not really highly regarded to compete against the European women in tennis. So we tip our hats off to them. We salute them. We thank them for giving us many thrills on our television set, especially when the U.S. Open came. It was like the U.S. Open is usually every September around Labor Day, just before the NFL starts their games. And it was just such an event. And it just brings back memories, not only to Serena and Venus, but to the men's as well. Back in the 70s when Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe, American tennis, where they used to light up the the tennis world and everything.
I know her.
Yeah, you know her.
Hey, Kat.
Yeah. So,
ladies and gentlemen, that's Brian's lovely wife, Katina.
Yes.
Yeah. So as you were saying.
Yeah. So we thank them. We thank American tennis, Venus and Serena Williams, and we thank again the great Americans that play the sport, who is now dominated by Europeans, which makes it even more great because anybody from anywhere in the world could come in to compete in the world of tennis.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna miss her, but something, I respect her decision on, pulling the plug, because everybody knows when they're in a profession like that, they know when to stop. Some people want to go until they die. They want to keep going until they die, but she's making a decision. She's a mom now, she's married, and she made note that she wants to spend time with her daughter. And who knows, maybe she'll take that time, all of this time she'll spend with her daughter now, she'll probably be grooming her.
Yeah, her heart and her head tells her that she wants to go on.
Yeah.
But sometimes the body says differently.
Yeah.
And when that comes, as they call it, father time, when father time comes, it's time to give it up, hang it up. They say father time is always is undefeated. So yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm gonna miss her, but that's her decision, and I respect her for that, but she'll be doing other things.
Oh yeah, she'll be around. Yeah.
And I'll look forward to that. Okay, I guess we'll catch you back here tomorrow, though.
Tomorrow, you see me tomorrow here at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Yes, for sure.
How's the weather out there?
It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but it's been really cloudy for most of the day. When I left Charlotte this afternoon, it was really hot, humid, but it's cooled off a little bit. I guess because if you're by the water, it's going to cool off at night.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, we'll catch you back here and enjoy the rest of the night. Catch you then.
Thank you. Everybody be safe and enjoy, and keep your mask on. Yes, we're still in a pandemic.
Okay, take care. That's Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. He's here every Thursday at this time, and he brings you the latest developments. And he'll be here tomorrow too on the coffee hour. When he mentioned tomorrow, we do have another show. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, called the Coffee Hour. That's on tomorrow at 10 a.m. But I'll tell you more about that before we go off the air. And so thank you so much for Brian. And he does on the Coffee Hour. That's his show is part of the 2020 feature, and he comes on 20 past the hour. And DJ Pete will also be here. Now, as far as I know, DJ Pete will be here tomorrow, 20 to the hour, and his part of the show is entertainment for news entertainment. Well, not news entertainment, entertainment news. And of course, he'll be reciting all of those birthdays of all of the people of notoriety who will be celebrating this week, past and present. Their birthdays this week. So all of that's coming up. So thank you so much for being with us. And if you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan. And of course, I am going to be with you until the top of the hour. Now, all of you ought to know that we're here live, and we're here live on Facebook right now. We're live on Instagram. We're also on YouTube as well. So you can choose any of those sources to watch us. We're right there for you. Now, those of you who are watching us on Facebook, we have a little more time left. Do you know that you could actually take this show? I'm not going to say take the show and shove it, but you can take this show and pass it along to your friends. You can pass it along to your friends. You know how you do that? By tagging them. You can do it right now. It's just as easy as that. And if they're online right now, they'll get that notification from you and they'll join you. and you could be right here with us talking and be part of the conversation as well. Now, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we invite you to go to our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel. We invite you to do that. And when you go there, please subscribe to it. You don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to do anything. Just subscribe. Hit the button right there. Because when you subscribe to YouTube, every time we post something or we come on live or anything like that, that notification will reach you directly, just that quick. And all you have to do is just press that and you'll pop right on with us. And those of you who are watching us on Instagram, all you have to do is just follow us each week, like a lot of people do. And we'll be around here for you each week. So thank you so much for being along with us. One of the things I wanted to do from now on, and I thought about it a lot, I am before each show or within the show, not any specific time of the show, but somewhere in the course of the show, I am going to do what they call a disclaimer. And I'm going to do that. And because of the fact that I want to make sure that everything is okay, because we do express opinions here. And whether you like the opinion or not, we want to make sure that we're responsible for everything that we do here. But I don't think that we're doing anything. We're not doing anything crazy, but and so my disclaimer each week is going to sound like this. And so when I say it, this will be the official disclaimer. All opinions expressed on this show does not necessarily express the opinion or the view of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or other medias that we broadcast on at this particular time. So we're responsible for everything we say and everything we do, because Facebook, we already know Facebook gets a little sensitive sometimes, and we don't want to be kicked off for something that we thought wasn't really valid. So we express our opinion that way. I thought about that a lot. So what we're going to do that from now on, that all of our opinions are on us. My guests and everything, all of our opinions are on us. And just because we do this disclaimer, that doesn't mean we're going to say anything bad. It's just that when you make an opinion, if you come out here and say something, or if I have a guest and they say something, of course, they're not going to say anything wrong because I will set them straight. And of course, people who come in, they want to say something, I will set them straight if that's the case as well too. But it's our responsibility, and we take full responsibility of this show because after all, we brought it out here to you. So we're going to do that from now on. That's what I thought about, and we're going to put that on our list. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time right now, and of course, every week at this time, we go and do what we call the This Day in History. So let's get started with that right now. On this day in history, 1964, A Hard Day's Night musical comedy film featuring the Beatles was released in the US. On this day in history in 1964 as well, a race riot develops in Paterson, New Jersey. On this day in history in 1973, American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas, opens in cinemas across the United States. Back in 1982, the South African Defense Force raids southern Angola. Back in 1985, Tap Dance Kid closes at the Broadhurst Theater in New York City after 669 performances. In 1990, Egypt and Morocco troops land in Saudi Arabia to prevent Iraqi invasion. Okay, in 1920, actor Lloyd Nelson was born on this day, and he was born in San Francisco, California. I said Lloyd Nelson, but I meant Lloyd Nolan. That's actor Lloyd Nolan. He was born in 1902 on this day, and he passed away in 1985. Okay, in 1920, talk show host Mike Douglas. Remember Mike Douglas? I'm not talking about the actor Mike Douglas. I'm talking about talk show Mike Douglas. He was born in Chicago, Illinois, and he passed away on that same day. On this day, he passed away in 2006. Writer Alex Haley, author of Roots, he was born on this day in history, 1921, in Ithaca, New York. He passed away February 10th, 1992, at the age of 70 from cardiac arrest. In 1925, Syndicated journalist Carl Rowan was born in Ravenscroft, Tennessee. He passed away in the year 2000. In 1943, songwriter Kenny Gamble was born on this day in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's 79 today. Happy birthday, Kenny. In 1949, singer Eric Carmen was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Back in 1973, professional wrestler Hulk Hogan. Oh yeah, with those big pythons back then. He was born on this day, 1953, in Austria, Augusta, Georgia. Augusta, Georgia. He's 69 years old today. 1978. Charo, remember Charo, the Coochie girl from Spain? Well, she marries a guy by the name of Keljo Raston. He was a producer, and they got married in Lake Tahoe, California. Okay, in 1990, General Hospital actor Maurice Bernard. Maurice Bernard. Now, those of you who don't know who he is, and well, for those of you who know who he is, you know, he played the part of Sonny Corinthos. If you follow that soap opera, General Hospital Every Day, he plays the part of Sonny Corinthos. All right. Anyway, he weds Paula Smith in 1990. In 1993, filmmaker Oliver Stone files for divorce from Elizabeth Cox after 12 years of marriage. In 2019, singer Miley Cyrus and actor Liam Hemsworth, that's Hemsworth, they announced their separation and intentional divorce after 8 years of marriage. And 1998, jazz saxophonist and clarinetist Benny Waters, he passed away at the age of 96. Actor, comedian Robin Williams died at the age of 63 on this day in history. He died at 2014 on this day. And his cause of death, of course, as you already know, no secret, was suicide. And he was born July 21st, 1951 in Chicago, Illinois. And finally, in the year 2020, singer, actor Trini Lopez dies of COVID-19 at the age of 83. And that's this day in history. Those of you who know anything that's happening on this day in history that I didn't mention, and you just happen to know off the cuff, you know, be part of it, you know, type it in there. I will see you right there and I will acknowledge it as well. And speaking of COVID-19, as Brian already said before he went off, continue to wear your mask, all right? This is no joke. A lot of people say, you know, it's all over. I never forget the time. And I was totally angry when it happened in my apartment building, getting ready to go up the elevator to my apartment. And we had a few people, of course, they were wearing the mask. There was one guy in there not wearing his mask. All right, but the rest of us want to protect each other. And he's saying, oh, it's all over. COVID is all over. And I was just like angry. It was, you know, you ever see one of these kind of guys that are as dumb as they look, you know? Well, he was kind of the guy where I wanted to take him up by the seat of his pants and lift him up, give him a wedgie at the same time and throw him out of the elevator. You know, this is no joke, folks. This COVID-19 is not over. And even though in some places it's a little more reserved and laid back than it was before, and we're enjoying more things now than we did before when the whole thing started, but we still have to proceed with caution. And I hope a lot of you are already updated on your vaccines. You already know there are 3 types of vaccines. There's the Johnson & Johnson, which requires initially 1 shot, and you have the Pfizer and Moderna, you know. So if you're up on that, that's good, because they say people still catch COVID, but the good news is that if you happen to do that, if it happens to happen to you or me or someone else, and I am fully vaccinated, I am up to date on my vaccines, you stand a better chance of not being hospitalized. And a lot of people that I know who have gotten it, and they spend maybe about 5 days in isolation, and then, you know, when that 5 days is up, they get retested again, and hopefully, and luckily, if they're tested negative, and then it'll be great. But you got to remember, this is you don't want to, even though a lot of people say, hey, I think everybody's going to get this somewhere along the line, might hit, and it may. You don't know. We don't know. But you want to try to avoid it as much as possible, and stay away from places that it's likely to reach you. Like, continue to wear your mask. You go indoors, right? Wear your mask. If you're going through terminals, like here in New York, we have a lot of terminals. We have the Port Authority. We have Grand Central Station. People walk through terminals wearing their masks. Some don't, but you be the nice guy or the nice girl, and you go through that. And then, people, after they go out in the open air, they take off their mask. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just in close quarters. You want to make sure that everything is okay. Hey, look, eventually we'll get to the point where, we don't have to do this anymore. I hope so. I hope so. But there's always one thing after another. Of course, you already know we have now people are struggling now. We have what they call this monkeypox. You remember chicken pox, right? Now they have this monkeypox, and in New York, it's a state of an emergency now, and they're trying to get as much vaccine as possible. And those are people who are more vulnerable to this disease they're asking you to get yours as soon as possible. At this particular point, you just can't walk into it. You have to do it by appointment. And there's a lot of vaccines that people are taking. They advertise all of these vaccines in New York, especially if you're a senior citizen. You want to make sure you're taken care of very well. You have the monkeypox vaccines, and when that comes around, whenever I can do it, I'm going to get it myself. Also, you're coming up now, not too far away, you're going to be able to get your shots for the flu. The flu shots, that's all coming up too. You got to take care of that. They advertise on TV about whooping coughs. It's no longer for children. It's not just for children. Whooping cough. And there's vaccines for that. And if you're a senior citizen, make sure you take the vaccines for, if you're over 50, you want to make sure you take a vaccine for other things like shingles. You heard about those. I understand they're very painful. I've taken that. I've taken just about every kind of vaccination that's possible. I think right now, this season, of course, when it comes around, when it's available, I am going to get the flu shot. And when I can get the monkeypox shots, and of course, I'm going to be seeing my doctor pretty soon, so I'll be talking to him about that. Maybe he has all of that for me, and I'll see about that when I get there. But then also, you want to take the shots for whooping cough as well. So you want to do your very, very best to stay as healthy as possible. And but right now we're still struggling with COVID, and people are getting it. People are not dying as much statistically, not as much, but it's still out there, and you don't want to let your guard down too much. Okay, not too much. So that's my advice to you, and I do hope that you take it. I do hope you take it. Okay, it's coming up, not too far. We're coming up to 11 minutes to the hour. And we have just about a little over 11 minutes before we wrap it up for this show. It's always great to be here. An hour can go by so quick. It really goes by so quick. And but we love doing this show for you. We love being here for you, and love having you aboard. And so I just want to say to all of you guys, and a lot of you guys are watching right now, I want to say hello to you guys who are watching us on Instagram. There you go, right there, Instagram. A lot of people who are watching us right now on Facebook, they're watching us, and a lot of people are there and then remain idle, but that's okay. If you want to remain idle, that's okay, that's good. Because a lot of people like to do that. They just want to watch the show and not say anything, but that's okay too. But we would love to talk to you. We'd love to say hi to you. And oh, by the way, we have some information for you in case you want to get in contact with me personally without going on the air here. So we cover all the bases right here. Now I have an email address and a telephone number. You can get in touch with me. And if you have, let's say, any kind of questions, ideas about the show, anything, put your input through that, any kind of situation like that, we'd be glad to hear from you. And I have an email address. I'll give you the email address first. The email address is frankallanprod@aol.com. Allan is spelled A-L-L-A-N, okay? A lot of people will do E-N. You'll never get anywhere with that E-N. So it's A-L-L-A-N, Frank Allan Prod. Prod is P-R-O-D, that's short for productions. frankallanprod@aol.com. You can email me anytime you want. My telephone number is 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467-134. You can call anytime. It's open there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Leave a message and we'll get back to you if you require that. And we just love to hear from you. And if there's something you want to say, even if you just want to say hi, that's okay too. Even if you just want to say hi, make comments about the show, positive or negative, because we're thick-skinned around here. Now, everyone doesn't like us. Not everyone. We don't say that. But, you know, if you can give us some kind of feedback or something, we would appreciate it, whether it's positive or negative. We'll work on it. We just want to work on ourselves. We're not perfect people, and we'll never be perfect people. But we always like to hear from you. So there you go. Okay, so we covered all of those bases right now. And what I want to do right now, this particular part of the show, we're coming up not too far away, but it's time for me to give you all of those great movies that you love so much. You love them, right? And they're classic movies. Now, I love classic movies. I really do. I think they're fun to watch. And I gotta tell you, watching all of these classic movies on Turner Classic Movies, I gotta tell you, they're coming out with some really good stuff I haven't seen in years and in a long time. That goes like way back. Yesterday they were doing some salutes to Greta Garbo. She did some great movies. She did comedies, she did some comedies, she did dramas, but they were great. And it was fun to watch. And it was always fun to watch all of those movies that have the surface noise under it. Remember a long time ago, well, they're kind of cleaning them up, but some of the movies still have the surface noise underneath. You could hear the and they're just as classic as the movies themselves. And it's always great to watch. Like I said, they're cleaning up a lot of those classic movie surface noise and things like that, and those spotty things. And they're making everything into HD quality now, so everything looks good. But they're turning out some real good movies, and I just love watching them. And but I think you will too. So I have some that I am going to relay to you right now, and I hope you do like them. Let's start off right now with Guys and Dolls. That goes back to 1955. Guys and Dolls, starring Marlon Brando, along with Frank Sinatra, and that's on Turner Classic Movies. You can check it out. It comes on this Saturday at 1:45 p.m. in the afternoon. That's Eastern. Everything I give you all the time is always Eastern. And it's a great movie. It's a musical. You'll love it. And I love those movies. And there's a lot of history behind the movies and the actors that played in those movies too. You also want to watch another Marlon Brando film too, called, and here's a classic everybody knows about, A Streetcar Named Desire, back in 1951. And that was with Marlon Brando, alongside him, Vivian Leigh. And that's on Turner Classic Movie as well. And you can check that out Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that's another black and white film. But the Guys and Dolls is Technicolor, so you'll get to see that too. And if you're not tired of Marlon Brando, I have another one for you. Another Marlon Brando. And this one I like as well, called The Wild One, back in 1954. And Marlon Brando, you know, he started there riding his motorcycle, had this motorcycle gang, and I think you'll like it. And you can see that comes on this Saturday as well at 10:15 p.m. on Turner Classic Movies. Now, if you go to Turner Classic Movies, you know, go there, and of course you want to go and look at the guide, the program guide, right? And you'll see there are more. There may be more movies that you look at and say, you know, something, he didn't mention that one. That's a good movie. I want to watch that. Well, of course, you know, but these are just my picks. These are just my picks. Not that I don't like these other movies, but these are just my picks for the week that I think are well worth watching, and I think you'll like them. But there are others, and you can look at them and listen. If you don't get a chance to watch them in real time, you can DVR them, watch them at a later day. And what I usually do is that when I present these movies to you, I do them in such a way where they don't overlap, and you can watch each movie in its entirety. So one doesn't overlap each other, so you don't miss it. All right. Okay. So you got those. And of course, like I said, if you go to the program guide and look at the other movies, you'll find things that you never thought. Say, okay, I like this. I'm gonna watch this too. I may not be able to watch it. Some people, and depending on your time zone, it may come on in the middle of the night. You can't stay up that late. You don't want to stay up that late. DVR it, watch it at a later time. That's a good thing about the new technology today. You can't miss it. And also, you can go on Movie on Demand. Now, Movie on Demand has a lot of great movies, right? They have dates back to the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so forth and so on. And also, movies that sometimes they recycle. They were on once and then they take them off and add more movies, but they always bring them back if you miss them. But they give you a certain amount of time so you don't miss them. And so they have a long list of all of these great movies you can watch. Movies that you can watch 1,000 times and not get tired of them. They're all right there. And so Movie on Demand, they're great. And they're free movies too. Now, if you want to watch the pay-per-view movies, okay, you can do that too. Now, these are the movies that are brand spanking new movies. They go into theater first, and then shortly after that, they come on cable. So you can watch them on pay-per-view. And they cost less than the price of a movie. You know, because in a movie, of course, you're going to pay for the admission, which these days, what is it, $20 today? Maybe a little less, I don't know, depending on the movie theater. All right. And then, you know, you're going to factor in the popcorn and the peanuts and the Cracker Jacks and all of that stuff. You know, what would be a movie if you're just going to sit in a movie theater and not munch on popcorn or whatever, right? Hot dogs or whatever, you know. And so you got that, and you could watch pay-per-view movies. Now, if you're into sports, of course, if you miss an event, you could always go on demand the following day and watch that sport in full. Just like I like wrestling. If I missed a wrestling event, I can always go back and watch it. You know, there's something that you ought to watch too if you're a baseball fan. There's a series called The Captain, and they're doing, as a matter of fact, they're going to do the last, I believe it's the last episode. I think they're like 7 episodes. I'm not sure, but you check it out. But it's going to come on ESPN tonight. All right, you check your time, check your time zone and find out when. But if you don't get the chance to see it live, go on demand, ESPN Demand. They have every one of them up there, every one. And The Captain is a good documentary. The Captain, you know, Derek Jeter. It's about a story about Derek Jeter, and a fascinating story it is. So please do that, check it out, and check out all of the other networks like Lifetime Movies. It's all right there. So let me go over these movies once again for you so you'll see, and I hope you enjoy them. Guys and Dolls with Marlon Brando, Frank Sinatra. That's Saturday at 1:45 p.m. Eastern on Turner Classic Movies. A Streetcar Named Desire from 1951 with Marlon Brando and Vivian Lee. That's Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And The Wild Ones, okay. Marlon Brando, and Saturday at 10:15 p.m. The other two I forgot to mention. You have Father of the Bride from 1950 with Spencer Tracy, Joan Bennett, and Elizabeth Taylor. That's Sunday at 11:45 p.m. And of course, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf from 1966. Virginia Woolf, Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor at Turner Classic Movie Sunday at 11:30 p.m. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the show. I will be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Brian Kent will be with me, along with the latest developments in the world of sports, with his 2020 feature featuring sports update 20 after the hour, 20 to the hour. DJ Pete will be here with entertainment news and reciting all of those names of people of notoriety. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm off. I'm out. I'm in the wind. I'll catch you back here on tomorrow morning, okay, at 10 a.m. Other than that, meet me back here next Thursday. Brian Kent will be here with me too as well for sports update. More of Talk Back Live. Have yourself a great night, great morning, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allen. The producer is Al Dale, technical assistance Dave Taylor, research by Sandy Pierce, and I'm your announcer Donna Stanky. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.